What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs through 20 games this season. So, I'm not going to try to make this video too long because a lot of you already know how the Leafs are doing, of course, but I just wanted to give my opinion, maybe some things that they need to improve on, and maybe some things that we didn't expect to happen, like the Nylander situation, how much Morgan Rielly is scoring. We'll get into everything. So, again, I might do this for every 20 games, and maybe in the playoffs I'll just do a full review or a year review like I usually do. So look forward to those types of videos, but I figured I would do this. Chris Johnston made a really good article that had a lot of similar things that I wanted to talk about. So I figured I would just give that little plug there just so that you guys don't think that I'm just trying to basically read his article, because it does make a lot of sense, and I have watched every Leaf game, so I'm not just pulling this out of places. I've watched the games, I know what's going on. So, through 20 games, the Toronto Maple Leafs are 14-6-0. A lot of things have been going right for the Leafs, some things haven't been going right for them. Of course, they've played the last, 9 and a bit games because he got injured mid-game without Auston Matthews. And through 20 games, we have not seen William Nylander yet. Now, of course, if you're watching this at a later date to see how they were doing at 20 games, Matthews might be back by the time you're watching this, or William Nylander might be back by the time you're watching this. Regardless, through the first 20 games, there's been some injuries for two of the best players on the Leafs. And, of course, we know Mitch Marner and John Tavares. And, you know, Morgan Rielly and everybody else has been pretty good so far. We're going to knock on wood for that one. But we've had some injury trouble so far. Frederik Andersen has looked really good. The blue line has actually been doing a good job. And the Toronto Maple Leafs have been getting a lot of effort from their bottom lines and have been getting a lot of scoring from their guys up front. So it's been a very good start, and I'm going to keep knocking on wood because I want this team to stay good. The Leafs are doing what they wanted to do. Since the beginning of this season, there was a lot of hype regarding this team. We've seen John Tavares come in the offseason. You know, regardless of how the Nylander stuff has gone down, you're adding to an already impressive young core. That doesn't just involve those great forwards. It involves Morgan Rielly, who's still a fairly young defenseman. Same thing with Jake Gardiner, fairly young, not out of his prime or anything like that. These guys are still good. Nikita Zaitsev, who has rebounded so far this season, if you ask me. Same thing with Jake Gardiner. Travis Dermott, who looks really good. Igor Ozhiganov, who, though he's made some mistakes, has actually looked pretty decent. And, you know, there's a lot to build off of when it comes to the fact that the Leafs actually are doing what they wanted to do. Getting back to that point, they want to be a team that people fear to play. They don't want to be a team where it's like it's the Leafs again. And I had this theory, and I don't know if a lot of you guys agree with this. I'm 22 years old, okay? I've watched a lot of Leaf games. I'm not a guy who's in my 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, that I've seen literally everything pretty much that's happened with the Leafs and how they've gone through, you know, good times, bad times, and then just complete bad times. I've seen it through 22 years of my life, though. I have seen a lot of Leaf games. It would be very hard to try to go back and, you know, count how many games I missed, because that's just impossible, but I would like to think it's very few. This Leaf team looks unreal. They look so good. And it's finally good to watch. But my point that I'm getting to is I don't know if you guys have noticed this in games that you've watched over the years, but it seems as though when the Leafs were playing, you know, Los Angeles or, you know, Pittsburgh, whatever, they were playing any team, the building would be packed wall to wall to watch the Leafs lose. You're guaranteed a win if you go and watch the Leafs tonight. If you go and watch your favorite team, they're going to go stomp the Leafs tonight. That can't happen anymore, because the Leafs are a team that can fight against good teams. They are one of the good teams. They're one of the best teams in the league. You know, a couple days ago, they were first in points in the entire league. When it comes to wins, whatever, they were first. So this Leaf team has a chance to do something special this season. And I think the fans, the players, you know, the whole, you know, city of Toronto, whatever, and all across the country, maybe even some fans in America, they realize that this Leaf team is not just a team where you go, okay, well, they're going to be good, and, you know, they might do some good things, but we all know what's going to happen in the end. Well, this year we don't know. We don't know how far this team can go. We have an idea, but we don't know how talented this group could be by the end of the year, and seeing how well they mesh together and going as far as possible. So let's look at some numbers first off. And like I said, I want to start off with the goaltending. A lot of people were worried at the beginning of the season, including myself, that Curtis McElhinney and Calvin Pickard leaving this Leafs team was going to leave that backup position unfilled, and Garrett Sparks may not be able to carry the load that he may have to, you know, barring injury, we're going to knock on wood, or, you know, just him getting in back-to-backs and whatnot. Because Freddie needs a break towards the end of the season. And I'll get to that in a later video because I'm sure something will change. But Garrett Sparks, through 4 games, has 3 wins, 1 loss, has a goals against average of 3.21, and a save percentage of .906. I think those numbers will get better. McElhinney and Pickard haven't been doing that well either. So Sparks is going to get a chance to play better, and I think that he will. I just think he's going to need more time, and I can't be hard on him. We all shouldn't be hard on him. Frederik Andersen, 16 games played, 11 wins, 5 losses, a 2.08 goals against average, and a .934 save percentage. This is what a true #1 goaltender looks like. Freddie Andersen has bailed the Leafs out of some games this year already. He's played very well even in some of their losses. He's becoming one of the best goalies in the league. He already is. And the Leafs needed a goalie like this for years. You know, James Reimer had his hot starts. He had his you know, little reign there. I'm a huge fan of him. I'll always love James Reimer for what he gave to Toronto. But it wasn't him. He couldn't be the guy. And there was plenty of other guys. The last guy that I can actually say really took this Leaf team and was a great goaltender in my eyes, that, you know, did good things for the Leafs, was Ed Belfour. So we've seen average goaltending from Jonathan Bernier, Tosca, whatever. I know it's funny to say Tosca's name, but average or below average goaltending. We never really got that, you know, starter or the future like Ben Scrivens or anybody else was supposed to be. So Freddie is finally the guy that the Leafs can rely on, and it's great. Let's get into some of the depth pieces. Now, everybody's like, why is Zach Hyman on the first line? Why is this guy getting this much minutes? He works hard. And don't get it confused when I say depth. He is a top 6 forward because of the way that he performs. But his points say differently, of course, because, you know, he's the guy that gets the puck or whatever and it gets moved around. But he's the guy that drives a lot of those plays. He makes sure that he can get pucks to guys and it turns into more scoring chances. Through 20 games played, he has 8 points. But here's the thing. He's done much more than that, and it's fantastic. We don't have to get into points for everybody, but I'm going to just quickly mention Tyler Ennis has looked very good. Per Lindholm, or Par Lindholm, however you want to say his name. Apparently it's Per Lindholm, so I'm going to go with that, and I have been saying it that way. Has been fantastic in my eyes. And he's been just better than people expected, in my opinion. Freddie Gauthier. Wow. He hasn't been putting up these godly numbers. He hasn't been putting up numbers. But he's doing his job. I'm a very big fan of the way he's playing right now. We're going to keep knocking on wood. Just want it to stay the way it is. All right, Josh Levo, he's been real good, okay? I've really liked the way he's been doing things. Hall and Marinson haven't been able to get in there on the blue line as much. Andreas Janssen, he had a bit of a slow start, but I expect him to pick things up. Who else am I forgetting here when it comes to depth? We'll get more into it, but let's look at the top of the leaderboards here for points. Mitch Marner, 26 points in 20 games. Driving the offense, playing amazing. With Matthews out, he's had to step it up even more. And him and his buddy, John Tavares, as well. He has 23 points in 20 games. Fantastic. He's on the road to getting, you know, some crazy numbers this year. Austin Matthews. Amazing start to the year. We haven't played with him for the past 9.5 games. But 16 points in 11 games, 10 goals, 6 assists. He's looked real good. And when he comes back, he'll keep doing his thing. Morgan Riley, 20 games played, 25 points. Give that man trophies at the end of the year. He's a #1 defenseman for Toronto, and he's a #1 defenseman in hockey. Not overall, I mean, right now he's looking like he's one of the best. I'm just saying for the Leafs who need a #1 defenseman, that's your guy. All right? We've got Kasperi Kapanen, who has just kicked every door down to get to where he needs to be. He's got 14 points in 20 games played. He's excelled without William Nylander, and I'm going to make another video on Nylander because I really need to, but he's excelled. He's looked awesome. Very happy for him. I just can't wait for him to keep doing his thing. He's awesome. We've got Nazem Kadri, who started slow, but he's got 14 points in 20 games. The guy does what he does. He's a pest, but he does it well for us, and that's all that matters. He's good. Nazem Kadri is an elite player in my eyes when it comes to an all-around game. Now, don't get it twisted when I'm saying elite. I'm talking about he's elite for this team. They need him. He's a leader for this club. People laughed at me when I said Kadri is captain material. He may not be a captain in your eyes, but he's a captain in mine. He's an amazing player, my favorite player on the team. Patrick Marleau, although at some points I'm thinking, okay, we need more from him, he's given us points, and he's going to keep doing that as the games go on, and he's an absolute monster in the playoffs. 12 points in 20 games. He will keep going, though. We got Jake the Snake, who's slapping everybody silly who said that he wasn't going to rebound after that terrible Game 7 that he had, although I don't like blaming it on one player. He's got 10 points in 20 games, but he's actually played better defensively. Nice save the other game, by the way, Jake. Attaboy. We got Ron Hainsey, not playing the greatest. Still don't think he should be a top 2 defenseman on this team because he's getting those minutes. 8 points in 20 games. We're going to need more from him defensively. I could care less about points when it comes to Ron Hainsey. Play defense. Don't worry about the offense. Like I mentioned Hyman already. Connor Brown, who's been a little quiet. He's only got 3 goals. He's got 7 points in 20 games. He'll need to step it up, but I'm sure he will. I've already mentioned Lindholm, Levo, Ennis, Janssen. Dermott has looked really good. Offensively, he looks good. Defensively, he looks good. They're going to need more from him. Same with Zaitsev. I think the points will start to come, but he's been trying to focus on his defensive game. Right now, he's a plus defenseman. Stay that way. Hopefully it does. I mentioned Gauthier, Ozhiganov, he's doing pretty well, and I mentioned Marinton and Hall. And we'll just get back to real quick, so I wrap this video up. Through 20 games, the Leafs are 14-6-0 and are a great team. They look like they're going to just keep riding, okay? They've got a tough test tonight, because I will be posting this today, against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and it's going to, like I said, it's going to be tough. They're a really good team, one of the best in the NHL. So the Leafs are going to have to come out there and they're going to have to fight hard. They're going to have to play hard. And I think that they're going to come out with a W if they just stick to their game. They got to score lots of goals. And let's see how the rest of this season goes. Maybe, like I said, I'll do this every 20 games. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 4,000 subscribers. Make sure to click that notification bell. I also have the community tab now, so I'll be posting there quite often. Click the links down below if you want to check out more cool stuff. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.